evening, all you Minchies, and welcome back to another episode of Reelz Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, and my lovely co-host who is back with us today, Uncanny Omar. Hi, Omar.
Hey, how was everybody doing? It's good to be back.
I know.
Good to be talking about a TV show, the latest MCU Disney Plus TV show.
That's right.
It's been a while since we've done one of those, right? I think like X-Men 97 was the last one that we did together.
I think so, yeah.
Right? Was Secret Invasion this year or last year? I can't remember.
Last year. Secret Invasion was last.
I tend to forget that one.
Most people should.
I tend to forget that Secret Invasion was even a thing. So It's good to see everybody. It's good to be back live talking about these shows. So yes, today we're talking about the entire series of Agatha All Along.
Yes.
And we are going to be talking about some spoilers. So in case you haven't watched it, all that Fallout Boy music on her PC is messing it up. Yes, all of it is attached to viruses, I'm sure.
Now, some of the videos I might have downloaded might
be especially the videos you download. Mm-hmm. This was so much better than Secret Invasion. Then again, most things are. Yeah, I think Secret Invasion was my least favorite. Like, I did not like it.
I think there was not one episode that was good. Like, to me, like Moon Knight had that one episode, right?
Oh yeah, Moon Knight had a couple of episodes I thought were good. But Secret Invasion, how do you miss? Like, especially with that much talent going into it. All right. Anyway, we're not talking about Secret Invasion. If you liked it, more power to you. Today, we are going to be talking about Agatha All Along, but we're just wondering how you wonderful people are doing. Hey, Casey, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Secret Invasion, Amanda gave it a 5 out of 10, and Omar gave it a 4 out of 10.
I was much more forgiving.
I guess I did not like What If even more than I did not like What If. No, Omar, when are we getting a review of Spidey and His Amazing Friends? Why are you asking me that, Maya? Like the classic Spidey and His Amazing Friends?
No, I think she's talking about the one on Disney.
Oh, the one with the crappy music? Yeah, we're not doing that.
Are
you flipping my friend Casey off?
No, I'm not. I'm flipping you off. I would never flip Casey off. But it is not. That's going to be Grammy nominated music soon. So
can I get to the chat now? Can you stop talking about stupid music?
Okay.
Thank you, Casey. I am okay as well, and I think it's going to be just okay for a long time. So
yeah,
that's good enough. So, how has everybody been? Like, how is everybody's world? How is everyone doing? And
is this your first live show since?
I did. No, I did the Saturday live stream with Melanie. That was the first time I came back live. Still, it still feels a little weird.
Yeah.
Not a little, it feels weird. Got my DC versus Marvel omnibus last night. Something good there at least. Oh man, yes. Outside Hawkeye and Agatha, I would pick the Loeb era MCU TV over the Disney Plus. Some of them, yes. I'm with you with Daredevil, seasons 1, 2, and 3. Excellent.
Yeah.
Punisher was good, although I don't think Punisher was as good to me. Ooh, we should rank these. That would be fun. Because I don't know where I would put. Like, I really liked WandaVision.
Same.
But I don't know where I would rank it against like Daredevil season 1 or 3.
Or Iron Fist.
Or I know you love Iron Fist. I know you're like big Iron. You got an Iron Fist tattoo on your arm.
I think in order to cope, I am gonna get another tattoo though. I've thought about it. It's gonna happen.
In order to cope with the loss of Iron Fist, the TV show.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, watch the Substance was. Jump on my couch.
I'm
talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later because it is. That'll be after Agatha All Along. We'll talk about the Substance because yes, Omar and I did watch it this weekend with his daughter, which I have about 5-10 minutes in. I was like, we should not be watching this with your daughter.
I think my daughter thought the same thing. We should not be watching this with Amanda. She is freaking out.
I do not like blood. Body.
We'll talk about that in a second. We promise.
Yes.
Reading through DC's finest Batman Year 1 and 2. It's awesome. That brings back a lot of memories, man. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. seasons 1 and 2, I think. Been destroying my wallet this past week. Those early Black Friday. They're coming out. And yes, I agree. Daredevil Born Again, dude. Oh, I cannot wait.
I think it's going to be good.
Who are you, my friend? Agatha was boring.
Dang.
He's like, I ain't waiting for you all to speak.
Well, thanks for the super chat, but that's a hot take of Agatha.
I cannot understand why they made it. Okay, all right. We will see. We will see. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. WandaVision was so good until the last. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that. I didn't.
Yeah, that last
an issue with it. Jessica Jones season 1 was great. I thought it was a little bit of a slow burn for me. Hard Traveling Heroes has been one of my most wanted omnis for a long time. So happy to be able to finally get it. I just finished reading a couple of the last issues that I didn't have that weren't collected in the trade paperback, just to do my overview that I have to film. Probably save it till tomorrow to film, to be out on Friday. The Substance was brilliant. Yes. Those camera angles in the Substance.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second.
Iron Fist tattoo.
Talking about naked butts. Let's get back to Agatha All Along and Agatha's naked butt in episode 2.
No, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 4. I didn't make it that far. I'll be honest. I did not finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think I ended up
just watch all of the Inhumans, because I think I did.
I watched 2 episodes of the Inhumans and I said, I'm happy for the people that wanted this, but this is not for me.
Exactly.
S.H.I.E.L.D. got great when it found its footing. Yeah, I really got attached to the characters. Yeah, that's something. It is definitely a series that a lot of people enjoyed.
You know what? Omar has not looked up gifts.
But now I'm going to.
Let me look that up.
I hope it didn't awaken anything in me.
Maybe.
I think it might have.
Sue is quite a beautiful woman. Let's just put it that way.
Speaking of Inhuman, help Gio out. Oh, my buddy Gio. Okay, Amanda, let's talk about this really quick. Agatha All Along. 9 episodes. How many episodes of WandaVision did we get? Was it 8? 8 of them?
Yeah, I believe it was 8 episodes. Yeah. So 8 episodes of WandaVision, 9 episodes here. And it was interesting. We'll talk about, the choice they made for like the final episode. Because it's interesting the way they did everything in this series. So you already saw us review the first 2 episodes. So just to, catch some of the premise.
Quick recap of the entire series.
Yes. So quick recap is Agatha has been trapped for 3 years in a curse, spell, whatever you want to call it, that Wanda has put her in, where she basically thinks that she's like in these different types of TV shows. And the one we find her in is like some type of a CSI or what's that one with Kate Winslet? Anyways, where she's like some depressed.
Titanic.
No, Mayor. East of Mayorstown, whatever that thing is called. Someone else knows it in the chat. Not Mayor of Kingston. That's something different. Anyway,
that's Rocky.
And she is she's approached by a young boy and a woman who we find out are both witches. The first one is a young boy, teen, who in the first, is it 5 episodes? Is it 5 episodes? We don't know his name.
In the 4th episode, like towards the end,
we find out.
They tease it, right? And then the 5th episode
is his bottle episode, and then the 6th, So we are introduced to this boy. We're introduced to a woman named Rio, who is not only Agatha's former lover, a powerful witch. They call her a green witch, but we later find out that she's in fact Death herself. And as Omar had said earlier, is that the same Death that Thanos fell in love with?
I mean, I don't blame the man after that.
Yes. Thank you,
Mayor of Eastwood.
That was what it reminded me of a little bit.
Matt was not a fan of WandaVision.
Oh man, Matt.
Once those hours back, I, on the other hand, really liked WandaVision. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was going to set the precedence for
Matt. Where do you live?
Why would you ask him that?
Because he has the last name of a friend of mine who also married a Matt, and that's her married name is Huck.
Oh my gosh. What if this isn't the guy and it's just pure coincidence? Let's continue with the show.
Anyway, so basically she has to, the teen is wanting to travel the witch's road. And in order to travel the witch's road, you need a coven. He knows or he is hurt.
Oh my gosh, comic book crazy. How are you, my friend? Oh my God, Cindy Sweeney to co-host the show with him. # nice work.
No, these things are big enough. There's no way you can. There's no way. There's no way.
I got Cindy Sweeney to co-host the show. she would be sitting right beside me. There wouldn't be none of this. No. WandaVision led us into Strange 2, which made almost $1 billion. Remember those days? Falcon Winter Soldiers will lead us to Cap 4. What will Agatha lead us into? That is a good question. We actually talked about that when we got to the ending of this. Like, what could it mean? And it's always good to see all these wonderful folks, by the way. We're not going to try to find out where you live. That's in Amanda.
Do you have a wife and her name is Laura? And if it is, cool. But if it's not, there you go. So anyway,
yeah, Rio.
Yeah, Rio.
So what happens? Who does this
basically
character turn out to be?
Yes, so we collect a coven, and so I remember all their names. We have let's see, we have Patty LaPone playing Lilia, who is a divination witch. We have Ali On, who plays Alice, and Alice is a protection witch. We have Shasir Zameda, and she plays Jennifer, and she is a bound sorceress who's a potions expert. And then we have Aubrey Plaza as Rio. And then we also briefly get Sharon Davis, played by Deborah Jo Ruff, who is one of the neighbors from Westview, who sadly dies by the end of the third episode.
It does not make it
short-lived, and Agatha can never remember her because she's just not that important to her, because Agatha is, very one-track minded and a little bit of a narcissist. So
yes, but spoilers, but there is no stinger. There's no credits or no after credits. No Young Avengers coming in to recruit Wiccan. There's none of that.
No,
which does lead into the question where does it go? Where do we go from
one could say that about Moon Knight, which I know is not getting another.
Agatha proved that a budget and reveals alone don't make a show. None of the reveals were unprecedented, but it works as a whole. Yeah, I do want to talk about all this and how it kind of worked and how the show kind of felt to me. And yeah. I watched the last 3 episodes with Amanda, and that was a lot of fun just watching it and talking about the episodes together. So, yeah, we get the big reveal that he is in fact Billy
Wiccan, or Billy Maximoff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's your show. Go ahead. Who is
it? No, you're fine. No, go ahead.
No, it's your baby.
Okay. Basically, each episode is pretty much a bottle episode where they take a journey on the witches. They're taking a journey on the witches' road, and then each episode is a trial. And a trial that leads to the third episode is where Jen has to try to be the potions expert and save Sharon from dying. But of course, she is unsuccessful and Sharon dies. Then we get the next bottle episode, which is where they're at the beach house, I believe. And then we get the episode where Alice has to play the song, her mother's song, which is a version of the Witch's Road song, the Ballad of the Witch's Road, which is stuck in my head forever and ever and ever. And she has to break the curse that her family's been under. And then that is when we reveal that Billy is in fact Billy. And then we get a whole episode about how Billy came to be. So just to kind of give you guys the overview of that. So Joe Locke plays Billy Maximoff in this, and we find out in the episode he's actually William, who is a young boy who just had his bar mitzvah. And Lilia also is there as like a lady reading tarot cards, getting paid to do that for fun. But she ends up putting a sigil on him, which is why they couldn't hear his name and stuff when he would say like who he is or where he's from, because of that protection spell, the sigil that she had placed on him. Because Lilia sees things out of time, and so she could see, and then she could also see that he had power and he wasn't ready for everything. So she had put like a sigil on him to protect him. So he is a young boy who just had his bar mitzvah. Him and his family are driving home. They have an accident. William is about to die at the same exact time because they have an accident because of the Westview stuff, right? The explosion of the big final battle between Wanda and Agatha and the destruction of her created universe. And because we know that Billy and Tommy were created within this universe, their souls, their like whatever, are looking for a place to land. And as he's dying, Billy's soul finds his way into William's body. So now he wakes up and he is Billy, but he has some vague memories of things, not really sure who he is. And of course, after, because remember, 3 years has passed, from that time point to where we get in present day. So in those 3 years, he's figured out who he is. He gets really into witchcraft because that's who he is. He has a cute little boyfriend, and they run into who other, and I did text Omar when I saw this. I said, Omar, I know, were you really excited to see maybe if Ralph Boner would come back?
Nobody is excited for that.
And he said, no. And I said, oh, well, aren't you the inverse of
Oh, God. That was the worst part about WandaVision.
Worst reveal for you? It was great.
Oh, my gosh.
It was so great. So he visits, he's trying to figure out what happened in Westview and happened to Wanda and her kids, mainly, is what he's trying to find out. Because he's trying to verify, is he really Billy Maximoff? And then if so, what happened to his brother Tommy? And so he meets with Ralph Boner, who's bonerific on the Reddits. I don't know.
Bonerific. God, I'm laughing at that.
They bring Evan Peters back for a great little cameo, and he is able to reveal everything because he was also kind of her slave, Agatha's slave throughout throughout WandaVision, right? So he reveals everything, and so that's why Billy goes to Agatha under the premise that he needs her to get onto the road so that he can, at the end, find Tommy. That is his goal. His goal is not power. He has his power. He's learned to control his power. But his goal is to find his brother. And so, of course, after Agatha finds out who he is, they still decide to finish the road together. He had also at the time kicked Lilia and Jen off the road. Alice had already died. So Alice died trying to protect Agatha from her mother's spirit, but then Agatha took all her power and killed her. Okay, sorry, Bruce.
All right, so this is from Bruce. Thank you for the super chat, Bruce. Aubrey Plaza was the best part of the show. The 2 episodes she was not in were even worse, which is amazing since it was so bad already. What 2 episodes? Okay, she wasn't in the Billy episode. What was the other episode she was? Oh, she wasn't in the episode with Lilia.
No, she was not in that episode. You're right. Yeah, where Lily.
What's up, Brian? I wonder if they'll give Tommy the white hair. Did he have white hair as a kid? I think, right? Billy and when they
had kids. I didn't think they had white hair. I thought they had sandy blonde hair, or one was dark haired and one was light haired, but not white. I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know that the kids, when they showed up, I don't think they had white hair. I'll have to look at pictures of WandaVision. Go on, Amanda.
Anyway, so we get to the big trial with the tarot cards.
Oh, no, they don't. They both have well.
Oh, you have the picture of them.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got the right picture.
They just look like little boys with
Yeah, well, except for that Halloween episode when Billy is dressed up like Wiccan and Tommy's dressed up like Quicksilver, so he's got white hair, they spray painted his hair.
No, that's the only time they did it. Mm-hmm. So throughout the episodes, we lose Alice, we lose Lilia, we lose Mrs. Davis, who she can't remember, and we are left with then Jen and Wiccan. I keep calling Wiccan, or Billy. And they end up basically back in her basement because the road becomes a circle. The shoes are there. And she's like, where's the end of the road? And so Billy decides to put the shoes back on. And then they end up in her basement, in some body bags. And basically Jen it's revealed that she's the one who bound Jen. So then Jen's able to unbind herself, and then she disappears. And then she gets Billy to, try to find Tommy, and then he disappears, and then she's left, and her basement starts to crumble down. And then she pulls out the hair that's been sitting in her locket, which is from what we later learn is from her son, Nicholas Scratch. I don't know. But she tries to bury it to grow, because right, it's the way her basement in this weird trial is set up is a growing place. But she is able to. She ends up getting out of that, and then of course that's when Rio comes back, and of course she had promised Rio body. She had promised her death because she is death herself, and she was promised body. She got some bodies, but then she also finds out who Billy actually is, and she's like, he's an abomination. he cannot exist. He stole someone else's life. He has to go. And of course, at this point, Agatha's kind of developed a little bit of a soft spot for Billy, even if he is the son of the woman who has trapped her in his curse for like 3 years. And she's still powerless. But of course, Billy comes back in his full Wiccan getup and helps her fight off Rio, gives her some of his power, and she ends up sacrificing herself in a way for him to live. And we get an amazing makeout scene with her and Aubrey Plaza, and Aubrey Plaza takes her life, and then she dies. And Billy kind of, at this point, that's the penultimate episode, and you think this is the final episode. And then as Billy goes back to his house, he's standing in his room. He starts
shut up, James. So not you, Amanda. Agatha All Along wanted to include Madison on the Witch's Road, but they weren't able to work it out. I don't believe that for a second. Oh, I can't wait to talk about what Amanda's biggest nitpick was
about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so as Billy's looking around his room, he starts to realize there's certain things that happen throughout the episodes. For instance, in the Lilia episode, him and Agatha and Lilia and Jen are all dressed as different witches from different properties that Disney owns.
That's not what
is that true?
I hate this so much. Hayden, how are you? Oh, God.
Is that really true? I hope that's not. And then he also sees different parts, like things that, like the shoes, right? The shoes that were left at the road and the beach house. And then he starts hearing things. He remembers things that Agatha had said, like the road doesn't exist, or, this looks like from your vision board. And then he realizes, because he is like his mother, that in fact, the Witch's Road was created by him. And that's when we get the big reveal that Agatha is not fully dead. She is now a cool ghost with her white hair, and she is now, I guess, going to haunt or work side by side with Billy. But the final episode is actually a flashback episode for the most part, which usually you see flashback episodes in like the middle of the show as we start to learn more about the characters. But they chose to do it at the end because throughout the entire season, they talk about how Agatha, the rumor is that Agatha had sacrificed her son, given her son up to Mephisto, because that name has to get thrown in there, so that she could have power, right? And we all knew her son's name was Nicholas or Nikki. His ghost shows up in the episode where her mother's spirit was trying to kill her, and Alice ended up dying because she tried to protect Agatha, and Agatha took all her powers. And so that there's something there with Nicholas. So we get a backstory of learning about how Nicholas came to be, pretty much normal birth. He was made from scratch, as she says, a play on his name, Nicholas Scratch.
That's actually a character from the comic books. Nicholas Scratch was a character a lot different in the comic books. He was just an innocent child in this show. In the comic books, he ran a whole demon worshipping town. And then that's where the Salem 7 showed up too, which is what they borrowed for the show as well, looking a lot different than the show, by the way. But the show did a really creepy version of them.
Yes.
Thank you, Bruce. My brother would agree.
Yeah, he also said that. Yes.
Nitpick hearing that damn song over and over. Which was worse for me.
There was a reason for it. And here's the reason for it, which we find out in the last episode. So, Death.
Oh, I didn't know that. Some radio stations played down the Witch's Road song on Halloween, along with the Thriller and Ghostbusters. I'm with you, man. I did not like the Witch's Road song at the beginning. I thought it was cringy. But the damn thing grew on me, and then at the end, I actually got a little emotional because what Amanda's about to say, why it's all connected.
Yeah. So Rio comes for her as she's about to have Nicholas, and she's like, "No, you can't take him from me. I need more time." And at this point, Rio is not dressed in her death attire; she's more like a green witch, and she's like, "I will give you time, but ultimately." He's not, I have to take him. So she's able to birth Nicholas, And of course, as Nicholas grows up, he learns more and more about his mom's power, or that she has to kill witches in order to get her power, right? To become stronger, to become more powerful. And she uses him as a tool to lure witches away so that she can then steal their powers. Because they have to blast her with it, right? That's how she gets their powers. And as they're growing up and they're traveling around the Americas up and down the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, that's still America.
It's still America. So he starts creating a little song about their journey. And it starts out as the windy road that turns into the witch's road as the two of them no, it is not. As the two of them grow closer, and as he's growing up, and as they're doing more, it becomes this little ballad that's shared between the two of them, between mother and son. But of course, Nicholas, who doesn't want his mother to kill witches, but it is kind of the trade. This is what she has to do. As he gets older, eventually death comes for him. He gives his mother a kiss on the cheek, which is very, very sad. And then, of course, she has to bury him. She didn't
wake up.
She didn't wake up. Well, I would have, because I'm a light sleeper, but she did not. And so she wakes and she's mourning the death of her son, and a witch appears to her and says, "Hey, I've heard you might know you're singing the song about the Witch's Road, and I would like to travel the Witch's Road." And this is where Agatha gets the idea. Lure all these covens, we gather a coven, and I can use that to steal their power. And so we get a montage of, as the years go on, her luring different witches to go to the Witch's Road that does not exist. It was a ballad made up by her and her son, just as a thing between the two of them. And after her son dies, she now uses it, partly, I'm sure, as a way to keep him alive in her spirit, but also as a trick to lure other witches. And that's why in the first episode, or the second episode, she was so shocked to see a door at the beginning when she did it. She's expecting it not to work, and she was going to get blasted and get her powers back. And instead, a door appeared. She was not expecting it. And that's why she told Billy that the road didn't exist in that second episode, because it didn't actually exist. It was all made up. She never traveled the road. It was just her way of getting power. And so we see that flashback as the years go on. And then, of course, we're back at present day, and Billy realizes all of this. He kind of realizes what she is, what she's done, what he's done. And he also realized that he created the Witch's Road, which also means that he's responsible for the death of Mrs. Davis, who, of course, Agatha doesn't remember who she is, the gardening lady. And, of course, Alice, and then Lilia, of course, as well. So he has to deal with that. He's trying to take that in. He's upset. He's angry. So he goes back to Agatha's house, and he's trying to do a spell. He has the locket that has Nicholas's hair in it, or had his hair in it. And he wants to banish Agatha. He's like, "Why are you still a ghost? Why is everyone else gone and you're still a ghost?" And basically it's because she doesn't want to face Nicholas in the afterlife. So she is too afraid to move on because she doesn't want to be with Nicholas. And so they come to some kind of like a neutral truce in a way. He stops what he's doing, and hi, Phil. Basically, she's a covenless witch, and he's like, "So am I." She's killed people. He's like, "So have I." And they decide to, he's like, "You could be my spirit guide, and we can go off into fun adventures, and let's go find Tommy." And that's how the season ends. With the promise, I would assume that something's going to come of that, either a second season where it is just the two of them just traveling around, getting into hijinks, trying to find Tommy, or a Young Avenger film. I don't know. But yes, that is definitely Agatha All Along.
That's what Bruce brought up. Where does this go because of the characters? So when we reviewed the first two episodes, I enjoyed the first one. I thought, oh, okay. Like I said, I really liked WandaVision, and I thought we were going to do something unique. We were going to do something different. And I thought, okay, it might be borrowing elements from WandaVision. We're going to have an episode here that's going to be different than the second episode. Like, second episode is going to be like a different year, different setting. And then we got stuck into this Witch's Road. which to me, I saw some of the comments, like, because I shared this with you. It felt like one long bottle episode, like they were very restricted to a budget, and it felt like we had like one setting, and then every once in a while we would have a different setting. But for the most part, like each episode was like just one setting. So that that got a little repetitive.
Yes.
But I think 5, Billy's episode, I like when episodes are done like that. It's a very tropey thing. Oh, we're going to look at it from this character's point of view. I know it's been done to death, but I love it. I still like things like that. So we see things from Billy's perspective, and I thought, okay, this is cool. You get to see his name, and it's the name you expected to hear.
We all knew. Yeah, we all knew.
I mean, people that watched the show that read comics knew that he was going to be Wiccan.
Yes.
What I find really interesting, and to see how when it was decided to do it this way, the whole thing of when we were watching the series, I remember commenting to you, I was like, oh, this feels like a season finale or a series finale, and then we had one more episode to go.
Yes.
And then the one extra episode was, this is Agatha's story in the past, you know, how she lost her son. Where the song came from, and the whole reason why she was afraid to get old and die, because she wasn't ready to face him. I thought that was heartbreaking and really powerful, and it really changed the tone. I love the reveal that she was evil the whole time. Like she was
never good,
right? She wasn't
not a redemption arc by any means, which you would have, right?
So it would have felt weird to have that episode earlier on. Like if that had been the penultimate episode, I feel like a lot of people would have been like, "Oh, she's a horrible person." I don't know. If finale, right? Like I don't want to watch the final fight. So I actually agree that I think that was left on purpose for the ending, for the reveal that she was a horrible person. She's not a superhero, right?
She never was going to be.
Yeah. But then you get to see perhaps the reason why. Yeah. I like that. I thought that was cool.
Especially at least not yet, right? There might be a redemption arc coming, and everyone's like, there's no season 2, but I guess according to Forbes, they did not put this into consideration for a limited series. They put it in for a comedy. If you're doing that, that indicates that it's going to be a show that is not limited or many. It might have more than one season. So there's a possibility they would have one more season. I'm sure that a part of them might be seeing what the response or reception is to Agatha All Along.
Has it been confirmed that there's going to be more than one season? Because I feel like there's more of a story. But then again, we know from Marvel Comics that, or MCU, sorry, that there's always more of a story out there. We still have a celestial body laying in the middle of the ocean that I don't think anybody has brought up yet. We still have some things that haven't been resolved. If this is meant to lead us to a Young Avengers movie, we need to hurry it up. That's what I'm saying.
You could be they could play their 30s. I mean, young is subjective. We can make it work.
30s is the new young, Bruce. Haven't you heard?
But honestly, 30s? I do think that because they are calling it season 1. They aren't calling it now mini series. I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I think the intention is, and now that they're putting it in a different category for consideration, I think their intention is they were waiting to see what the reception was. It surpassed Loki season 2 as far as the Rotten Tomato scores, and which that is one of the more highly rated shows. Definitely not a Moon Knight or Echo or Secret Invasion by any means. And so I think they were trying to see where it was going to go, and if they think people want to see more, and I think people want to see more. Just judging by the overall reception of Agatha All Along, so the title Agatha All Along is implying that all along it was all Agatha, the witches road, everything.
And then when you go back and like see the episodes, like when he's making the road himself with the door.
Oh, I know
her reaction. It's like, oh, how did I miss that? Like, exactly. And I think I missed it because I was like, okay, well, obviously they're going to turn her into a Loki type of character. She's going to have a redemption arc. Have you ever heard of Glinda, Ryan?
Yeah, Glinda's a good witch.
Go and watch Wicked, right? Wicked is a movie up your alley, right?
Please, let's not watch because Wicked apparently has two.
Like, maybe it's because what's going on in my life in the last few weeks, but that last episode was really emotional. Like
it was powerful for me as well.
The time slip story in episode 7 was done already in Stephen King's Castle Rock. I might prefer to this one. Wow, over Stephen King.
No, I love this time slip with Lilia. I thought that was brilliantly done. Because you're wondering.
Yeah, that was episode 7.
Yeah, what is she doing? Why is she randomly blurting things out? And then to learn that, and then of course, and I love how it ends with as she's dying, and then you see her teacher back at her teacher, and then her younger self shows up. Like, how much of her younger self knew where the end of her life would be? Like, that's just like such a weird. Oh man, that's a weird thing to consider. Like, you might know what your death entails, but like well before hundreds of years before it actually happens. That's crazy to me. But yeah, that was one of
supposed to be a Vision Quest. Vision Quest has been a rumor for a while, but I don't think that's been confirmed. Like, we saw the schedule for 2025, right?
Yes.
And I didn't see Vision Quest, and I didn't see X-Men 97 season 2, which technically should be X-Men 98.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to be lining up with the Ocean Celestial is a major plot. I don't know if to believe my buddy Alex or not.
Oh,
fell asleep. Anything big mentioned other than this being Omar's favorite? Shut up, Blaz.
Hey, Blaz.
Young Avengers should be a series. A film would bomb. In my opinion.
I would love to see it as a series too. A lot of those actors.
I think it would be a series. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jonathan Major situation threw a monkey wrench in the Marvel's long-term plans for fixing things up. Well, honestly, the way that he was written in Ant-Man and Quantumania, I'm kind of glad that that's not the Kang that I wanted to see.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Skarsgård in Castle Rock was the kid Linoge kidnapped at the end of Storm of the Century. Is it another one of those Stephen King books that ties into his big story arc? Then watch it. Is it setting up 3 different series and movies?
Are we talking about Agatha? I don't know, honestly.
One thing, and it's to follow Wiccan. Because there was no mention of Wanda. Like, there was just the she who should not be named or something. What did she say? Something like that. And then she said Wanda Maximoff's kid.
Yeah, exactly. And they hint at maybe she's not dead, but they don't go. It's not the focus of it. It is about Wiccan's story. And now that Agatha, it's obviously not Agatha's story anymore, right? She's a ghost. There's not much she can do except be a spirit guide to Billy. And now from this point forward, it's Billy's story, which would be a very interesting and compelling season 2, in my opinion, especially if he finds Tommy by the end of it, which would be, or in the middle of it, or wherever they do, that would be fantastic. But yeah, it's really Billy's story. Which, man, that costume was on point. The Wiccan costume was great, and
it's not like it's the greatest, convoluted costume to begin with.
Yeah,
it looked good.
And it was good.
Tried to sacrifice him in October, and it shows.
It does.
That what Ryan's into.
I love it.
Confirmed. And Paul, I want to see people dress up like Aubrey Plaza's death. It was very
what outfit?
The last one when she shows
last outfit. Okay.
It's definitely a case of butter. It's like it's a butterface case, right? Like,
when she has when they have
she's got the skull, but everything else looked good. Paul Bettany spoke about Vision Quest. Saying 30 is old is
You're violence. Right, Ryan. That is violence.
Who said 30 is old? The Celestial is in the Cap Fort. Did I miss that? I don't know. President Thunderbolt mentions the Celestial directly in the trailer, saying it's made of vibrant. Amanda, did we catch that? I don't think we caught that.
I did not.
It's 2026. Picard season 3 showrunners making it. Did you like that? My friends that are Trekkers love
watching
Picard season 3. Like, seasons 1 was okay. Season 2 they thought got better, but season 3 was great, which is like next gen, I think. I never was a Star Trek viewer. I watched the movies. But my friends that are Star Trek fans love season 3. Ultron confirmed for Vision Quest. Same. Oh, is he? Spader's coming back?
That'd be fantastic.
I really liked the show. The first episodes were kind of slow, but the storytelling improved. Yeah, I felt like a lot of it was almost redundant in a way. This is the last week where you get a DC comic, you get the final Justice League membership card, Dark Side. Thank you, Bloss. So it seems like it has been confirmed. Rogue One is my favorite Disney Star Wars movie. Highly recommend checking out our House of R podcast if you were a fan of Agatha. They did a 1 to 2 hour deep dives in each episode, and the finale podcast featured a great interview with showrunner Jack Schaefer. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you, Eric, for that. That's awesome.
They allegedly cast a lot of the cast for Vision, like Tommy and Vision, huh? And Vin. Who's Vin? Yeah. You mean Billy?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh
yeah. So what did you think, Omar?
You have to Google that damn word, Ryan Wilson. I don't believe you know that damn word. I liked how Lily at first seemed like just an extra cat. I did too. I like how they made her into a big part of the story, even though she had to, die. What did I think of this?
Yeah,
I thought it had a good start. Very, very slow middle. Picked up a little bit, then got slow again. I think some of these episodes could have been like made into 2 or 1 episode.
Yeah.
But absolutely loved the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The last 2 episodes I think were phenomenal. I really like those. And to me, a series is as strong as its ending. So I don't mind the slow burns as long as it gets to like a good payoff. So I like a lot of the cast. I mean, the song, like I said, it did get on my nerves a lot, but by the end it got catchy, and I could see why they were still using it. Like I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it needs to be. And damn it, the song is catchy. I do like the classic version, the one that they play at the end.
Yeah, I like it as well.
I don't think I had a problem with the cast. I think the cast was great. Every one of them played an important part. I don't know what they're going to do with the last. Who was the last witch that was still alive by the end? They dug herself.
Jen, the one that's now unbound. Yeah, the potions expert. Yeah, because she obviously made it out. And so she. Oh,
have a good night, Kane. I hope you feel better, buddy.
Yeah, I hope you feel better.
Oh, look at Maya schooling us. Vision's son.
Oh, from that, I love Tom King's Vision. I know. Okay. I don't think a lot of people do in the chat. Apparently,
Tom King is very divisive, and
I appreciate Tom King. So
I enjoy Tom King's stories when I take them out of continuity, because it's a wreck to put him into continuity and think that this is the same characters that are in the 616 universe, or for that matter, anything that he's written for DC.
Yeah.
Viv is the Vision's daughter from Champions. Yes, I forgot about Vin, the son. Was the blonde Phantom the public domain character with a skull for a face? The guy with the purple outfit? Thank you all for explaining Viv and Vin. And by the way, someone announced on this show about 6 months ago. Was that me? Daredevil, Ironheart, and Wonder Man will be on in 2025. Yes, but no mention of X-Men 97, right, Bruce? And thank you for that reminder. What about you, Amanda? What did you like? What did you not like about the show?
So I like the song from beginning to end. I like the rock version of the song as well. That was fantastic.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed what I enjoyed the most is the storytelling. So yes, the middle episodes, because they were stuck in, and I'm assuming that's because of the budget, they were stuck in one setting, and it was focused and heavily on the characters, except I do like when things are character driven. So that's why it wasn't totally, I despise this. This is so boring, because we're learning more about each of these characters, and learning about them is also helping us learn more about Agatha and Billy, and of course, whatever's going on with Agatha and Rio behind the scenes and whatever she has agreed to. So we're learning little bits and pieces as these characters are also being explained more, given their time to shine, given their times to either redeem themselves or, die a spectacular death or whatever the case may be. And you get some really cool, interesting trials out of it by doing that. So it was a little slow, but I didn't dislike the story, the way the story was told, or the storytelling. And I also really enjoyed how things came full circle for a lot. The only characters I think that felt kind of misused or not used enough or just seemed out of place by the time we got to episode 7 was the Salem 7, because it seems like they're going to be this group of witches that terrorize them throughout every episode, but we see them in the first 2 episodes or the second episode, and then we don't really see them again until the 7th episode. We know they're hunting them, but they're not the main focal point. So I feel like we need the Salem 7? Were they only being used as a catalyst for Billy to create the road in the first place because he was scared when they were approaching and his mind was like, we need to get on the witch's road. Bam, we created the witch's road. There it is. It's gone. Let's go. Let's do it. So those are the only characters I felt like they were cool characters, but by the time we got to episode 7, I almost forgot about them, that they were even here and they were even part of the story, because other things have happened to the characters since then. So I like how everything came full circle. I loved how there was different things that connect, and you want to go back, and because after I watched it, I wanted to go back and see, now this is where this fits and this is where this fits, and that's why she said this, and it all makes sense now, even though it made sense in the context of the time, but now it makes even more sense. And I love when there's little foreshadowing like that they throw into the storytelling. I think that's brilliant. And I thought, I loved the acting. Patti LuPone kills it as Lilia. She turned out to be one of my favorite characters throughout the entire thing. Even Shazir Zamata, which I've only ever seen her on SNL way back when, which I don't think you were watching SNL at the time when she was on it. It was like somewhere in those like 2010s range when she was on
Definitely
SNL.
not watching SNL at that point.
Yeah, and she's funny, but I like the level of gravitas she brought to Jen and even Ali On, which then funny enough, I saw her in season 2 of the Diplomat on Netflix. I was like, but she plays a vastly different character. But really, for me, Billy, Joe Locke, honestly shines. I've watched all of Heartstoppers on Netflix, and I've read the graphic novels. I love that TV show. And I was telling Omar when we were watching, I was like, he's such a different character in that, like compared to Billy, like his Billy is like, it's so crazy to see him two completely opposite. The only thing in common is their sexuality. But other than that, personality-wise, completely different characters. Oh, and I guess one's American and one's British, but completely different characters. And his Billy is so just enigmatic, and he's so charismatic and fun, but also serious and brings a lot of emotional depth to it. And yes, totally great casting. Enjoyed Joe Locke extremely a lot. He's probably one of my favorites. And then, of course, Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza, I think did a really good job in their roles as well. I think Catherine Hahn knows Agatha inside and out, and you can see that in the way she plays Agatha. She knows this character, and she embodies her very well. So all of that is to say that I really enjoyed. Overall, there's very little gripes, except for the ones that I mentioned. And most of all, I just enjoyed the season very much. And that last episode did get me. Even though me and Omar had a whole conversation about when the Sailor Witch trials were and how old Agatha was.
Yeah. Hey, hold on a second. I agree. She was great. I already told you. No X-Men. What? You did? Says they are redoing all the stories where the animation was almost done.
Yes, they fired what's the name?
They fired the showrunner. But if the animation is almost done, why don't they just release it? I mean, they've already paid, I assume, right?
Nah, we'll figure it out.
Apparently, no one asked for Agatha All Along, and it turned out to be pretty damn good, so I don't want to hear that BS with the Ironheart show.
Thank you, Pat.
There's a lot of truth behind that statement. If I were, to pick a show, if I was a showrunner, if I was running the MCU, Agatha as an ongoing series is not something I would have thought of, and it was a lot of fun. Like maybe that's why I enjoyed it more than I probably should have.
Well, maybe she's also not a major MC like Marvel character. I mean, like you said, she's like the nanny for the Fantastic Four or whatever, but she's not a Fantastic Four member. She's not this superhero.
I mean, and even that Agatha is so different. Like she's an old lady, right? Like she's Aunt May old. Aunt May.
Yeah.
Okay, Aunt May, like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Aunt May old.
Not I know. Not hot Marissa Tomei. No, even Sally Fields. Not that Aunt May. You're talking about Rosemary. I got
you. So what would you give this show out of 10? And if you've all watched it, what would you give this show out of 10?
Mm-hmm. Like I enjoyed this show a lot, so I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it.
8.5 out of 10. I think that's a good rating. I enjoyed it more than I thought. Like I said, it was a little boring in the middle, and it did pick up. I thought it had a strong start, okay, middle, and it picked up towards the end. Those last 3 episodes were great. Last 2 were phenomenal. I really liked the last 2. So yeah, I think it's 8. I think an 8 for me. I really liked it. Maybe I was gonna say 7.5, but I think it's one that I'll watch again.
8 children sacrifice for Darkhold's out of 10. She did not sacrifice her son for the Darkhold.
Bruce is hating on the show. 1.3.
Wow, Bruce really did not like it. That's very interesting to me. I mean, to each their own. But for me, it was one of my favorite Disney Plus series. And
wow, that's pretty good for Phil. Considering
5 out of 10 for Phil. Who doesn't?
That's pretty good for Phil.
It's not bad. Like
7.5. 7. The second half is a 10 out of 10. A 2. I don't believe a damn word.
Ryan, did you actually watch?
Didn't watch it.
How long?
8. Didn't watch out of 10. I believe loss. That's a man of his word. 8 out of 10 from Larry. 8 out of 10 from Crank Ankylosaurus. 1 point. I actually believe Bruce. Like he really thought.
I don't think he liked it at all.
Yeah.
Throw them dollars in the hate just to get sure we read his drinking. He's got to throw us money. I appreciate that.
That is funny. Now, if we're gonna, cross streams here.
Oh God!
So Parks and Rec, Star-Lord was hooking up with Death as Thanos now. Dude, Thanos and Deadpool are gonna be fighting.
I would just love to see an interaction with her and Chris Pratt at somewhere down the line.
1.5. I don't believe you.
It is not word garbage. Oh my gosh, I hate that word so much. Personally,
10 out of 10, objectively 8.5 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I didn't watch it, but it's woke guard. He's such an old man. I think Ryan is probably younger than like everyone here.
When I see Ryan, I'm envisioning him as that little Pomeranian barking at my heels, telling me that it's woke garbage, and I'm just gonna kick him away. Like,
you want to kick him? Why do you want to kick Ryan? That's his kink. That's his kink. He pays women to do that. Haven't watched it yet. My wife has me hooked on Matlock. That's right. Okay, you're not talking about Andy Griffin, Matlock. He's talking
Matlock is the most random, like old TV show to start getting hooked on. Matlock. That's
it's the new one, right? With what's her name?
There's a new Matlock?
Yeah, Kathy Bates. It's her final role. She's retiring after Matlock.
That's what she chose to retire on?
Yeah. Wait, what's wrong with Matlock? And it was good enough for Andy Griffith. It was good enough for Kathy Bates.
Okay,
be good, comic book crazy.
Yes,
much love, brother.
Comic Book Crazy. It's good to see you.
Apparently, it's good, and it's a reboot.
What's it on?
Amanda, you're the one that's supposed to have your fingers on the pulse of the industry. You've been failing.
Okay, my life for the last 3 months has been taken over by music festivals. Okay, now we're done.
I feel so bad for you. I feel so.
We'll
start a GoFundMe for Amanda and her 3 months of nothing but music festivals. Now we can talk about the substance. How beautiful Margaret. She is Andy McDowell's daughter, so
she's gorgeous.
The apple does not fall too far from the tree.
Oh, it's CBS. Well, I don't have CBS, so
how do you not have CBS? You have everything.
Because I don't want to pay for CBS because I don't watch anything on CBS. So why
how do you
would
watch the Real World Reunion? That's why my brother and I have Paramount.
Isn't that on Paramount? Can you just watch that on Paramount?
Yeah, that's CBS.
On Paramount.
Yeah.
Are they on it though now? Okay, I guess I could watch it then. Okay.
Yeah, the new one with Kathy Bates is nothing like the original. We need to start a campaign for them to release the unaired New Warriors pilot. Oh man, speaking of New Warriors, I had a good friend of mine. I'll show it on my haul video. He got me some New Warrior stuff to help pick me up. Almost brought me to tears. It's beautiful. Matlock, CBS Paramount Plus.
There we go. So I can watch it. I'll give it a watch. What else am I supposed to be watching that I have not watched?
A lot of horror movies. Ryan loves the troll. Oh, I know he does. I watched a couple of episodes of Matlock, and it wasn't bad. 2024. Of course, they gender swap Matlock, but it's Kathy Bates.
Ryan
You Warriors piloted
Ryan
is the Great Lake Avengers. Do you have? Is it CBS free?
I do.
I was thinking.
No, it's not. First of all, the CBS app was never free. And I don't have cable, but yes, I have Paramount Plus because not Yellowstone's barely on anymore.
Hey, Yellowstone's coming back November 11th with the 6 final episodes.
Without Kevin Costner.
Hey, spoilers!
Oh no, I mean that's
you're probably right. Without Kevin Costner, I have been watching Matlock because it is in 4K on Paramount Plus. It is one of the best looking 4K TV shows. Only reason I'm watching it. Really? In 4K? No, it's not, Ryan. Margaret Qualley wore fake boobs for the substance. They called them the Jessica Rabbits. What?
That makes so much sense because when you look at her, she does not have boobs that big. Not that it's a bad thing, but I mean.
Well, guess who's doing some Google research right now, baby?
You are. You are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right in the middle of the stream.
Overall, we enjoyed Agatha All Along. But now we're going to switch gears and talk about a movie that made me gag to the point where I thought I was going to throw up.
She was about to throw up.
I think Tommy, his brother Tommy, put it eloquently. The Substance is a horror film for women. It is a comedy for men, and I have never felt more right about that in my entire life.
Yeah, I was laughing my butt off during The Substance, and she was
laughing. But it is hard, it is horrific as a woman to. Okay, so we're gonna talk about The Substance now, I guess, because
you can't watch anything else. Okay, big boobs. Hold on a second. Let me get through here really quick. The Penguin is something we hope to do next week.
Yes, because the final episode on the radar. Weekend, so the final episode is this Sunday.
Kevin Costner was busy filming The Horizon
and getting a divorce. I mean, he's a busy dude, and he also
didn't go all into his personal life.
No, he just had the Falling Out. He has Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if that's even a thing.
Horizon Zero Dawn is not the movie. It's just Horizon.
I know.
Horizon Zero Dawn is a video game.
It would have been better if it was though.
No, I like the Horizon movie. Haley Steinfeld from Hawkeye is.
Oh, Bruce, calm down. It'll be fine. She could be an older version.
I thought it was Ryan that said 30 is old. Bruce, don't say 30
Bruce.
is old.
Bruce is the one who's like, they have to hurry up because everyone's going to be 30 soon, which is fine.
Remember
and then we may
Matlock
not even use her.
Broke that writer's leg in Misery. Yeah, James Caan, right? It was in a Caan that was in Misery.
Yep.
So when are we getting Hellraiser, the movie?
Didn't they already do
we need to research to confirm. Yeah. They might be fake. Yeah, like James was like James would even mind. I wasn't looking at her boobies, honestly.
He was not. It was when they went to the backside, and I was like, Omar, we should not be watching with your daughter because he's like, whoa. And I was like, stop saying it out loud. Your 15-year-old daughter's right there. And as Margaret Qualley's like looking at her naked ass on the he's like,
I was like, somebody needs to give that cameraman a raise.
You did say that. Oh my goodness. Oh, bless it. Oh, The Substance.
Without going into spoilers, it is a body horror that made me laugh.
Body horror extreme.
Amanda was about to puke on my couch, and I had to warn her, do not
by the end of it.
You don't draft a 30-year-old in the first round.
You guys are all sounding very much like Dennis Quaid in The Substance right now. Because the premise, if anyone's not familiar, it is a horror comedy, a dark comedy. I don't even know. Demi Moore plays an Asian actress named Elizabeth Sparkles, which is a terrible name. And this is a weird version of our time period where it's like in and out of time at the same time. It's like if we got stuck in the 80s, but we had cell phones. Essentially is what it is. And so she has an aerobics dance TV show, like a what's her name, Suzanne Summers type of thing. And Dennis Quaid is the guy who runs the TV production company or the network. And he was like, we need someone younger. We can't, she's too old. And of course she hears all this, gets into a car accident, And then some nurse who's there at the hospital is like feeling up her spine and tells her that she would be a good candidate for something. Gives her this card. It's the substance. And everything is big and wild. And for some reason, you do not need doctors to do any of this by yourself, which is wild to me because I would never be able to just sew myself up. Like, what? Who would know to do that? And so essentially what you do is what?
I'm gonna keep quiet. I don't want to get canceled. Not this week. Go ahead.
Anyways, so when you take this substance, you inject it yourself, you are basically birthing.
We had so many questions during the movie. We're like, wait, where are the instructions? I'd be watching a YouTube video on how to take the substance because it did not come with instructions. It was a very complicated procedure, and it's a do-it-yourself procedure.
And it doesn't tell you, hey, your body is going to open up in the back, which could kill you, and your second half is going to pop out, and that second half should know how to sew you up because they're a doctor.
Maybe that was in the cutting room floor.
Yes, but essentially, and it's very specific that if it's a better, younger, more perfect version of yourself, and that is Margaret Qualley's character, and she is beautiful. She's gorgeous, but so is Demi Moore for her. Well, she's gorgeous. I'm not going to say that. She's gorgeous too. Anyways, so as Demi
Moore is absolutely. She was amazing in this movie.
Oh yeah, if she's not nominated for an Oscar, I'll be very disappointed. So you have to switch every 7 days so that you have the spinal fluid can reformulate and stuff because that's what they take to survive. The double does, but while the Matrix, the original version of yourself, is taking like liquid food supplies, it's being intravenous. Which also, like, I wouldn't know how to put I didn't take nursing classes. How would I have put that in my arm without a doctor? I would have been so bruised up trying to get the vein. I don't again.
Yeah, but it's like, you got to go through all the pain to get to the beauty, Amanda. So it's all part of it.
I know. When I see it resonates with me when I see so many of my friends who get Botox, who get lip injections, who get her eye makeup tattooed on them or their eyebrows tattooed so they can look perfect all the time. And I'm like, why are we doing this? So this movie,
I learned because of the patriarchy.
Exactly. So for me, this movie means it resonates so much because I see women I know going through painful things. Like the worst I think is we put tattoos on my body. That's because I love a band and I'm obsessed with them, and that has nothing to do with beauty. But she had to sew herself up, and it heals eventually. But she woke up; it's like in pain. Anyways, so every 7 days they have to switch. But of course, because why would they want to? The more perfect version of herself doesn't want to give up her time. She wants to stay out a little bit longer. She wants to live the life that she knows she can have, even though they are the same. And that is what the substance company keeps reminding them. You are one. You're not two separate people. They still act differently. So when she's Sue, which is the cuter version of herself, she's very flirtatious. She's beautiful. Yes. And then when she's Demi Moore's character, she sits around for 7 days in her apartment eating chips and junk food, staring at the image of her younger self outside of her, like on a billboard outside of her, out of her room, always reminding her that there's someone younger and prettier than her, and it never doesn't motivate her. And the best scene, which I think is what they should use if they want to consider for an Oscar, is when she decides to try to call the guy who she runs into at the beginning of the film. And he knew her in high school. And he's like, "Oh, you're still as pretty as the first day, or when you were in high school. You're still so pretty." And he's clearly like, he wants to ask her on a date. He gives her his number. It gets stuck he drops it in the water. It's so adorable. And she calls him up and asks him for a date. And she's getting ready for the date. She looks really beautiful, but then she starts walking away and she sees that version of herself on the billboard. So she goes back, starts changing her makeup. Then she removes clothing. And then to the point where she's just like tearing at her skin and her makeup because she's not happy. And then she doesn't go at all. And you can't tell me there's not a woman alive who has not had that experience where they're like, "Nope, I'm not going. I don't feel beautiful. I'm staying home." That has happened. I guarantee it. Just women.
I don't mean to laugh, but it was our reaction of watching this together because, Amanda and my daughter are watching this between me and my brothers. And I remember I was like, I think one of my brothers asked the man, is this what happens to women like before a date? Like all the time?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I
Whereas
haven't dated in a long time.
guys are just like looking for a shirt that is laying on the floor going, and they sniff it. They're like, yeah, that smells good. And then they go out. Oh man.
No, it's true. Like I haven't dated in years, but yeah, even if I have to go out to like an event or like, let's say a work thing, I still will agonize over every little detail before I leave the house, the hotel room.
But and I don't know if that's every girl, right? Like, I mean, it's just
no, I'm not saying every girl, but it is a common experience for most women. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
There we go. But eventually what happens is Sue gets really fed up with the way Demi Moore is treating her body when she's herself, like just junk food and everything like that. And there's some really great scenes, a lot of homages to different horror films, like The Shining, like the long hallway scenes and things like that. And then also when Demi Moore is like making this food and she's like getting like her hair is graying, because basically if you stay too long past the 7 days, it's ruining the matrix. So when that happened the first time, one of her fingers gets really like old and gross.
The substance, Josh. Talk to Ryan. It's a body horror.
It's a body horror because yes.
Yeah, like death becomes her.
Oh yeah, but I mean like
but
10, a body horror, like 10 times, yes, more disgusting than one could imagine. Not with their like sewing on their like, it's so much worse than you could possibly think. So Demi Moore's character, because Sue keeps trying to take, and eventually she gets to the point where she doesn't want to. She has this New Year's Eve thing, the show that she gets cast in, and she doesn't want to give it up. So what she does is just starts taking the spinal fluid and just for 3 months doesn't ever switch back. And then when she finally has to, because the spinal fluid is run out, you have to regenerate it every 7 days. She didn't think that through. So she switches back, and now Demi Moore is old and decrepit, and her boobs are hanging down, and her body is like frail, and her knees are.
I agree with this, Phil. I agree. I think sometimes.
Okay, Phil, I'm not wearing makeup right now, so you tell me if I look beautiful or not.
Right, and Phil can't prove that, so he doesn't know if you were in the bathroom for an hour crying before the show. Like you said before every event. That's good. I tell my wife this all the time, man. I tell it, and yeah, I think men don't act that way. They act with men like they do with women. Literally every date story I've heard from my female friends is a premise for a Blumhouse production. Wow.
That's very true. So Demi Moore is like this old, like haggard, like thing. And her knees, like, it looks terrible. And she ends up, if I remember, she's the one who wakes up Sue and they're awake at the same time. And Sue freaks out and they have a fight to the point where Sue kills her Matrix, kills Demi Moore's character, Elizabeth Sparkle. And she's getting ready to go to the New Year's Eve show. And when she's there, her teeth start falling out. Because remember, oh, thank you, Phil. I appreciate that.
Look at all these compliments. Oh, stop, everybody. Don't actually speak louder than words or what? Amanda, you look great. If you want, look at him.
It's not the one number I want, but thank you, James. I appreciate that.
Yeah. You're so picky. All right, go ahead.
I am. Now, if his lead singer was to give you a call, then by all means, like, that's really good. He's also married.
His lead singer's too busy trying to get into Pete. All right. What's
so
oh, thank you, Chad.
Or does look good without makeup.
I look better without makeup there, my man.
Oh, geez. Okay. So her teeth start falling out. She starts to feel like her whole body basically.
When all this is happening to her body, I look at Amanda and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's still wood.
Oh yeah, but then I kept asking him until he got to the point where so basically what she does is she leaves the show and she has a little bit of the activator left. So she can't revive her Matrix. Matrix is dead. So she uses the activator on herself, which births the abomination to end all abominations. It is like this monster with Denise Moore's head screaming out of the back of it. It is like Sloth with just like, but 10 times worse. Like, I think it's Sloth in the Goonies, but like 10 times worse. Like, and she gets her dress on. And the best part is when she takes the magazine picture of Demi Moore and stapled it on her face.
Oh man, I was losing it at that point. Oh man, I think my favorite part is when one of her mutated titties comes out of her eye socket. I think that's the part that made you gag, and I was just laughing.
I'm like leaning over Omar, like I'm going to vomit on you now.
It's like, do not throw up on me again. Like,
but man. She ends up.
It reminded me of like a trauma movie, like one of the toxic Crusader movies. Like how gross it was. Oh man. Like sloth and drag.
Yes.
Well, a little bit, like, like melting because it's like body horror, right?
Yes, and eventually she comes out on stage as this new abomination character, but it's me, guys. It's still me, but it's not. She is now a monster. And then they start attacking her, and then blood sprays, like blood, just lots of blood everywhere. And she tries to escape, and then her body starts to basically fall apart until she is left like some amoeba. Her little amoeba head is just like squid octopusing along. Your body is a wonderland. Yes.
And then it just melts into her star at Hollywood, our Hollywood star.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, that was a beautiful movie for people.
And then it goes
learn some lessons. And it made me realize we need to watch more horror movies down. Yes. It was a lot of fun just watching it together.
It was.
I don't think I've laughed at a horror movie that much in a long time. My wife she didn't watch it with us, but Melanie watched a couple nights afterwards. And she was getting a plate to eat. And I was like, I'm going to let her learn her lesson herself. So I come back 10 minutes later and she's like, I can't eat while I'm watching this movie. Oh, it's so gross.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
There's so many moments I was like, I can't. I've twice in my life, I have fainted at the sight of I fainted once while getting blood taken. And then once an outpatient, my husband had some surgery and I fainted at the sight of his post-recovery. And I was in the hospital.
He's the one that had surgery.
Thank God, in the hospital. So I was there. I had nurses there to take me to the ER after I fainted.
I love that even when your husband has surgery, you made it about you. Oh my God. Oh man.
I can't take it. Fake. That sounds.
Of course.
But so this movie for me was really hard, seeing her inject herself, the blood, watching her sew her back, her Matrix back up. And I was like, that's going to fucking hurt in the morning. 7 days. That's going to hurt like motherfucker. Again, what irresponsible scientific company would ever let this happen?
You know that there are people that are importing enhancement drugs from other countries.
That's
you think
true.
They come with a warning, if they're approved
true.
by anything? No, people,
not the same.
Not everybody, but a lot of people will do whatever it takes to make themselves look younger, prettier, thinner, stronger. I mean, I think it's just part of humanity, right? So I actually believe there are people, not just women, that would do this. That would be I'll do it. I'll do it. Yeah, every 7 days I get to be young and hot again. Do it. Yeah, I can see that happening. Absolutely.
But then then you have that existential crisis and that choice of but you don't want to. You want to stay young. Why do you want to go back to your old body every 7 days?
Yeah, that does come. That's the bad part. Whatever. Yeah, watching the movie reminded me of like building IKEA furniture. I was like, well, they do come up with like really weird instructions, so maybe it's.
The instructions were very key. Was IKEA like very much like very simple?
Yeah, I mean, like, think about like how many experimental drugs and
it's true.
The effects of experimental drugs, like, become a new trial drug, right? Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy to me.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. We also watched Azrael that night, which I really liked.
We did also watch that.
As far as a movie, I liked Azrael more. But as far as like having fun with a group of people watching a horror movie, absolutely, The Substance was a lot of fun just to see everybody's reaction. Like, why is she doing that? Or just watching Amanda?
I wish it was available in theaters near us. I would have loved to see a theatrical reaction to that.
I'm pretty sure it would have been like, a lot of people getting sick or walking out of the theater. I can kind of see that happening.
Yeah. Because I know people like to talk about how like they had ambulances like standing by for like Terrifier 3, but I don't know. This movie was not as widely released as like Terrifier 3 or anything like that. But if it was,
it's crazy how much the Terrifier movies have grown, honestly.
Yeah. And it's not like they don't cost a lot of money, and it's more of a grassroots kind of production company. So it's amazing.
Yeah, and really great like practical effects. Absolutely.
I can't speak to that.
This has more of substance than Agatha.
Did it?
I've been thinking we had an hour of Agatha and about 30 minutes of substance because we're about to wrap it up.
Yes, Azrael does. I don't know. Azrael does have his own show. If you guys haven't seen Azrael,
he's talking about Azrael the cat, Gargamel's cat, and the Smurfs.
Oh yeah, no,
Azrael, Jean-Paul Vallée from Batman. I really hope it gets like Demi Moore. Seriously, deserves like an Oscar nomination.
She does. I think. And after
Substance is streaming on Move, is it Movie? Is that where we watched it? We watched it on Movie.
I don't know where you watch. I was not paying attention to where you were clicking.
Yeah, you never do. Movie. It's where it was streaming. Anything else before we wrap up, Panda?
No, I think that's just about it. But yeah, we will be back next week with our review of the entire season of Penguin, which I'm very excited about. I've been keeping up with
maybe Venom 3. We're going to throw Venom 3 into the mix.
We are looking at maybe going to see that this weekend. We've got some catching up to after the last couple of weeks, but Venom 3 would be one of those movies that you got to see just to see it. I made him sit through the Joker, Folie à Deux.
Oh, gosh, the Joker.
Yes.
If we're done grossing me out, just learn Joker 2 flopped on video on demand also.
God.
We'll now lose over 200
The movie made for no one. The movie made for no one. Joker 2. So we never did a formal review of it, but Steve Lentz liked it, and I don't know why. He's that one person, the one person that said, I like this movie. I was like, why? Is it because your fourth studio album was also named Folie à Deux? That doesn't count. You cannot do that. Like that.
No, I know Quentin Tarantino liked it.
Well, I don't trust him anymore.
I love Quentin Tarantino. We actually watched Wild Robot.
We did watch.
We really liked it.
So I actually just bought it this weekend on Apple TV or Apple because it's available for purchase. My daughters have already watched it. They love that film. We've watched it already 3 times. They absolutely love it.
I really liked Wild Robot. Bill Owens gave it 3 out of 10. Great performance, but body horror is not for me. It's not for everybody. It can get like seriously, like so I could come over and maybe puke on Omar's couch. Only if you're not wearing makeup, Josh. That's
do it all natural, baby.
Yeah, come over here.
Couch all you want.
I really want to watch Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. That was something
we do that this week. We can hang out and do that.
Wait, I forgot. Kojima's the other person that liked the Joker too. But we were talking about Kojima, right? Like, I know I love his stuff, but he also did the plot for Metal Gear 4.
So here's the people who say they love Joker 2. I need to understand why.
Well, I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Well, I understand this. I understand that. But it's not a musical.
I like Lady Hawk, and I accept that's a crappy movie.
I love Lady Gaga too. It's just not a great
Lady Hawk. That's different than Lady Gaga.
You said Lady
Gaga in this movie was awful.
Well, because her character was written terribly. Like he finds out that it's yeah. It's just terrible.
All right. This was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Thank you for reminding us why we keep doing this. Thank you all so much for watching. And we will be back next week with, the Penguin and a little bit of Venom 3. Whatever it's, what is it called? Save the Last Dance?
Yes, Save the Last Dance. I think that he's trying to get into Juilliard and he has some traumatic experience he needs to work through. And there we go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sign us off, Amanda.
Okay. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at nearmintcon. Remember, check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Mint Condition merchandise, and also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us here in what we do and get a lot of cool perks along the way. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint. Good journey till all are one. And if you feel it,
oh my gosh,
taste it.
This stupid thing that's going to get me demonetized. Thanks, Amanda.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, bye. Did you end the stream? You click on the stupid freaking picture. You can't end the stream.
I'll end the stream.